enable us to be able to achieve that strategy by the year 2027. And therefore, we set up a dedicated citizen economic empowerment program section where we looked at not only identifying opportunities for citizen-owned businesses within our supply chain as Morupule Coal Mine and localizing those key low-hanging fruits, and furthermore now speaking to manufacturing. Ultimately, we are about solving problems, and the specific problems that we are looking to solve just beyond achieving our vision, which speaks to becoming a partner of choice in the global coal transition, is the reduction in our import bill as a country, and of course ensuring that as an accountable and corporate citizen, we're able to ensure that we contribute to the socio-economic development of Botswana by providing or supporting the jobs that we speak about. And essentially, we see manufacturing as a key area or critical success factor in us being able to support, create and support those sustainable jobs. So the dedicated Citizen Economic Empowerment Program was tangibly and specifically intentional in terms of our strategic direction and intent, as well as Morupule Coal Mine.
Right. And that program, is that the one that we can now speak of to say this is one of the initiatives, and maybe you have more that you have in place for the local manufacturers?
No, absolutely. We would say that, look, each and every single employee of Morupule Coal Mine, whether it's an intended effort initiative, a section, a department within our business, is an intentional effort on our end. However, the Citizen Economic Empowerment Program was established to drive that within the business. But furthermore, with the business partners that we work with, including our suppliers, subcontractors, and stakeholders within the broader ecosystem, to be able to drive citizen economic empowerment, like I said.
All right. Thank you so much. Now, to you, sir, as the supply chain manager, now how does Morupule Coal Mine make sure, identify and select local manufacturers to partner with? You know, how do you get on with your procurement needs and actually make sure you're standardizing that, and you know you are at par with the market demands? How do you do that?
I think one of the best things that we have done is to integrate Citizen Economic Empowerment Program within supply chain. That are managed at the same level, under the same function, and it helps us to drive both supply chain strategy parallel to the citizen economic empowerment strategy. And the easiest thing that we did is to develop a local procurement and supply development policy, which comes with goods and services reserved for citizens. And if you look at that list that we have, we published it in 2023 and in the local media. If you look at that list, it has got goods and services which are priority areas for supply development and priority areas for joint venture, and most of those goods, the goods set aside for us to support manufacturing. And last year we also went out to tender, deliberately looking for manufacturers in certain goods and services. Out of the 4, we have managed to onboard 3. As an example, now our supplier of personal protective equipment is a manufacturer in Botswana. Our supplier of conveyor ancillaries is also looking for investment to manufacture. And the strategy that we have tried to do to make it easier for them is because they need access to market to get the necessary funding to invest in a manufacturing plant, we give them a year to transform and now become manufacturers through the basis and security of the contract that we may have with them over the next 3 years.
Interesting. So would you confidently say you have policies in place and you're actually following the policies?
Exactly.
All right. Okay. That's great to hear, to know that we're actually moving somewhere as Botswana. We tend to sometimes have policies, and great ones for that matter, and then the implementation part becomes the bottleneck. But back to you, Metirelo, how can you elaborate on the impact of Morupule Coal Mine's contribution and collaboration with local manufacturers here in Botswana? What has the impact looked like over the years?
No, absolutely. And look, the numbers speak for themselves. And whenever we do communicate, especially with Botswana, the Botswana sitting at home right now, our intentional strategic efforts have been able to, since January 2022, have been able to realize a spend of 800 million till this was, I think, the end of July. And supported 3,000 jobs. And someone may ask, but what does 800 million out of an ocean mean? That translates to about 62% of our spend as Morupule Coal Mine. And this is really just to demonstrate the intentional efforts in terms of the impact that we've been able to create. But furthermore, before we do get to those indicators and the impact that we speak about, we've been able to, through that spend, support more than 1,235 jobs. But I'd also like to make the emphasis on through our industry development and diversification part of the Citizen Economic Empowerment Program. There are issues of productivity, there are issues of quality, there are issues of market access, as my colleague has said. That essentially then speaks to the macro impact that we believe that as we leverage our spend as Morupule Coal Mine, we potentially see our citizen-owned business partners that we do business with growing beyond the borders of Morupule Coal Mine, growing beyond the borders of Botswana, and ultimately for us reaching that high income country that we espouse to become in the year 2026. But furthermore, the interventions from a capacity building perspective, quality management perspective, and understanding the industry that we're in, issues of safety, but also within the region becoming those at the forefront of this transformation, because we view ourselves as the leaders in transformation in the region, but partnering with ecosystem actors from all fronts.
Right. And now, before we deviate from that question, when you say in the region, which region are you speaking of? Because I want to ask you about your contribution and your impact, particularly in Palape, what it has looked like.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Risoko spoke about the right policies in place and spoke to our local procurement and supply development policy. They are, in terms of our governance structures, ensuring that as we operate Morupule Coal Mine or operations within our zone of influence, being Palape and those surroundings, we are contributing to the economic development and impact of the community, and not just empowering those that are beyond Palape, which is why we've partnered with various institutions, not just through our Citizen Economic Empowerment Program, but through our Corporate Affairs Department, in ensuring that we build an entrepreneurial ecosystem from the informal sector right across, to your SMEs, to your medium enterprises, but ensuring that there's growth from your informal sector, formalizing, to the formal sector, and ultimately then growing the economy right from Palape and expanding out into the country.
Right. Also seeing you in the education sector as well. Like we spoke earlier, you doing prize-giving ceremonies. It's also something. It shows that you're also keen to give back to the community. And I think the work is quite plausible. Now back to you, sir. What strategies that Morupule Coal Mine have in place to make sure or to ensure sustainability, the sustainability part of the local manufacturers, how they grow into the future, to make sure that it's not a once-off thing or a one-hit wonder, but they continue to grow and they become bigger than where they are when you met them?
Look, like Tirana said, we've got a lot of partners, and our Citizen Economic Empowerment Program is a basket of a lot of initiatives, and empowering and support for local manufacturers is part of the program. And what we have done is we have a one-size-fits-all strategy where we are partnering with some of the mining houses out there to aggregate economies of scale and ensure that the right level of investment is viable and feasible for manufacturing in the country. And last year, we also had a conversation and partnership with United Nations Development Program. We are part of that mission that traveled to take the supplier development to Zambia, and we showcased how the program has developed citizen suppliers in the mining industry here. And Zambian government apparently is looking to replicate the same program, and also access service providers who have done really well in mining here, and that is the sustainability part that we're looking at. From the mining industry, you'll be amazed on how other mining countries up north of Botswana are looking to get services of Botswana, and we'll still partner with more partners to try and create access to those markets for citizens.
Right, quite interesting. Now, what measures do you have in place to measure success, the success of the initiatives that you have in place to make sure that you are indeed empowering the local manufacturers? I just mean, what are you using? What is the scale there to measure, this company has actually contributed towards us and we have contributed to them and we're contributing towards the economy of the country? What measures do we have in place there?
Look, when it comes to local manufacturing, quality is the most important part of delivery in mining. By nature of mining, it's high-paced and high-quality and demanding environment, and we wouldn't want to compromise delivering coal for the country and for the power that we have here. What we do is we put in place a plan into a contract. We have restructured our contract templates to ensure that we are able to support the citizen who's a first-timer in mining and supplying us with goods, and we keep on quality checking and improving their products until they are perfect. Like I had mentioned before, our contracts are structured in such a way that the first year is a trial period where we are working on the quality, and then it's locked exclusively to that manufacturer at second year going forth. And then that is when we'll be satisfied with the quality and we'll be sure that we are getting the right quality from the citizen supplier. And in terms of the key measures, obviously local manufacturing, we are looking to create jobs. Like Thilo has mentioned, right now we have spent 800 plus million on citizen suppliers, and that amount of money is supporting about 1,200 jobs, and you find we spend a lot of money to create just one job. That is because we are at infancy in terms of our onboarding manufacturers. You will see that figure coming down in terms of the amount of money we spent versus the jobs, because the 800 million was largely spent on tenders. Some of them are traders buying outside the country and selling to Morupule Coal Mine. So if we empower manufacturers, they'll manufacture and hire more people in Botswana, but we'll still spend the same amount of money, even less. And from a supply chain perspective, I know when we do initiatives like this, a bystander and a normal Botswana out there would feel we're just doing it as a socio-economic development program. But over and above that, as Morupule Coal Mine, from where I'm sitting, I think we are also de-risking our supply chains. Should another COVID hit now, we'll have our manufacturers, and it will be easy for us to get our supplies and keep the mine running by buying from local manufacturers instead of those 1 month border stops that we experienced during COVID. Thanks.
Ever ready, always ready. A very important tool to have. Now, this is going to be my last question to you in the half a minute that we have left. Maybe you have testimonials that you can speak of to say these are local manufacturers that we worked with, and we can see the significant improvement thereof.
Absolutely. I'd speak to, look, ultimately at the end of the day, our role and through Reseho's section in terms of supply chain is to ensure that our cost per ton reduces, however, not decreasing the quality and not decreasing the productivity. We have a local manufacturer of a product that we use for our dust suppression within our operations, and we, before the interventions of the Citizen Economic Empowerment Program, we used to acquire that product beyond the borders of Botswana. However, right in Palapent, speaking to that impact that we're creating within our zone of influence, right in Palapent, they are a manufacturer. We saw a considerable reduction in terms of our cost that we acquired in terms of buying that product and service or product from them. Going beyond that, we also just spoke about the indicators, or you asked about the indicators. We should see our levels of innovation and technology rising, coming from the industry. So that is just but one a tangible example of this is a local manufacturer whom we as Morupule Coal Mine said let's partner together in ensuring that your business develops and ultimately you deliver value to Morupule Coal Mine. And we've since seen now other mining houses acquire the same product from that citizen-owned business.
Interesting. Robust improvement that we take note of there. But thank you so much for making time to be with us this afternoon.
Thank you very much for having us.
Absolutely. That was Morupule Coal Mine, of course, Metirelo Ramasedi and Resego Kipidile. Of course, we're talking the manufacturing space and the mining space, how they interconnect and how they, boost each other in terms of growth.